Stand By Me. The heartfelt coming-of-age drama about four young boys whom in 1959 hike into the woods after hearing word of mouth that there is a dead body there, and believing that their discovery will make them famous, they head out on foot on a journey which turns out to be a journey of self-discovery. Released in 1986, Stand By Me showcased the talents of a very young River Phoenix, who played the memorable role of Chris Chambers, a kid whom the town believes to be the local bad boy who is just misjudged and actually has a heart of gold. And not forgetting, of course, Kiefer Sutherland for his terrifying performance as the town bully Ace.
Give me some skin.
Stand By Me has become a beloved classic that everyone loves and enjoys, with the movie itself almost becoming an adolescent rite of passage. So today, to celebrate this heart-touching movie, we are going to look into 10 things that you didn't know about Stand By Me. So, let's do this. Doo-doo-dum, ch-dum, doo-doo-dum, ch-dum.
Hell no, what do you think I am?
Jesus! Let's get out of here, come on!
Number 10. Stand By Me was written by the master of horror. Stand By Me is based on the short story The Body, which was written by Stephen King, which was part of his anthology book, Different Seasons, which was published in 1982 and also features the story Apt Pupil, The Shawshank Redemption, or as it was known in the book, Rita Hayworth and The Shawshank Redemption, and The Breathing Method. Stand By Me is unique in that King steps away from his usual macabre subject matter and delivers a story much more heartfelt about the struggles of adolescence. There are, of course, several differences between book and movie, most noticeably being that the book takes place in Maine. Yeah, I didn't see that one coming, whereas the movie is set in Oregon. In Stand By Me, Gordy has a nightmare that his father told him that he should have died in reference to the death of his brother, whereas in the book, Gordy has a vision of the dead body telling him that it was him that should have died. And in the movie, Gordy pulls out a gun when the bullies turn up at the location where the dead body is, whereas in the book it was Chris. And of course, the book had no mailbox baseball.
Shit, I'm out. God damn it.
Wow, having mailbox baseball automatically makes it a better story in my opinion. Number 9. The movie's production started over a birthday present. The wheels for Stand By Me were first set in motion when Stand By Me's producer Bruce A. Evans gave a copy of The Body to the wife of his frequent writing collaborator, Reiner Gideon, in 1983. Both Evans and Gideon saw potential in making a movie adaptation based on The Body, and then contacted Stephen King's agent to negotiate film rights. King requested $100,000, along with 10% of the movie's profits, of which were considered a high fee for Evans and Gideon. The project was then taken to several studios, all of whom weren't interested, until Embassy Pictures, which had previously distributed The Howling, Escape from New York, and This Is Spinal Tap, agreed to take on the project, of which, after months of negotiations, managed to reduce King's fee down to $50,000 and a lower percentage of the box office profits.
Yeah, we can even be on TV! Sure!
Number 8. Original Director. Adrian Lyne is an accomplished director whom at the time of Stand By Me's production had great success with the movie Flashdance and would also go on to direct Fatal Attraction, and so he was hired as Stand By Me's director and even oversaw the project in its early production. However, more negotiations got in the way of the movie taking flight, as Embassy Pictures didn't want to agree to the fee that Lyne was asking for with directing Stand By Me. So to accommodate this, Evans and Gideon even offered half of their share of the movie's profits in order for Lyne to be hired. But despite this, at that time Lyne had just finished working on the movie 9.5 weeks and wanted to take some time out before getting back to work, with him feeling like he needed a break. So from there, acclaimed director Rob Reiner was then offered the director's chair, which he took. Reiner had previously directed This Is Spinal Tap and The Sure Thing, and the very year he worked on Stand By Me, he also directed the fantasy movie The Princess Bride, so he was more than capable of bringing the body to life on the big screen. And of course, Stand By Me wasn't the only Stephen King story Reiner adapted, as a few years later he also directed the Stephen King adaptation of Misery. Number 7. Casting. Reiner casted the 4 main boys because their personalities all matched the characters that they were playing. For example, Will Wheaton was shy and uncomfortable in his own skin, so he was cast as Gordy. Jerry O'Connell was bumbling while also being innocent, so he was cast as Vern. And Corey Feldman was rebellious and angry, so he was cast as Teddy. River Phoenix originally read for the lead role of Gordy, but Reiner saw him more as the Chris character, what with his leadership quality and spirituality. I think Phoenix definitely fit the mold more as the misunderstood bad boy of Chris than the shy and insecure Gordy. John Cusack was cast as Gordy's deceased older brother Denny. The actor had previously worked with Reiner on The Sure Thing. Funny enough, it wasn't the casting of the boys that proved tricky, but rather the grown-up version of Gordy. Originally, actor David Jukes was cast in the role of adult Gordy, who also acts as the movie's narrator, but it was felt that his voice just wasn't right. Michael McKean was then cast in the role, but it was felt that he too just didn't feel right for the role. Then Ted Bessell was considered for the part, but it was finally Jaws and Close Encounters star Richard Dreyfuss who was cast in the pivotal role, as he and Rob Reiner were lifelong friends. That, and Dreyfuss does have a great narration voice.
Now he said Sickum Boy, but what I heard was Chopper Sick Balls.
By the way, Dreyfuss was 39 when he filmed the part of adult Gordy, and this is Will Wheaton at the age of 39. Yeah, that may have been a little bit off, but regardless, it doesn't spoil the movie. Number 6. Rob Reiner was scarier than a train.
Take out the papers and the...
Reiner took to all the young stars in Stand By Me and almost became like a big uncle to them. He cared about them all while also wanting to get the best performances out of them. Before filming took place, Reiner created an almost summer camp style of setting, where the young actors would play games such as improvisation of theatre, in order to develop their friendship and trust within each other. In other words, Reiner made the set of Stand By Me a happy and safe place for his pre-teen stars.
Don't talk back.
However, this proved tricky for one of the movie's most iconic scenes. The train scene where the boys are hiking across the train bridge when a train then approaches them, with the boys having to get to the other side of the bridge for dear life. Obviously, while filming the scene, there was no real train approaching the boys, and thus Will Wheaton and Jerry O'Connell just weren't taking the scene seriously and just didn't look scared enough while filming. Reiner had to take drastic actions and actually screamed at the 2 young stars before the next take and told them that if they're not afraid of the train, then they better be afraid of him. This led to the terrifying performances the scene required, to which you could actually see the 2 boys were really scared. Reiner then afterwards assured the boys that they did a good job and that he wasn't really angry at them.
At least now we know when the next train was due.
Number 5. Raw emotions. When it came to filming the tragic scene where the 4 boys discovered the body, you can actually feel the sadness and raw emotions. The scene feels wholeheartedly genuine. This is because when the scene was filmed, it was the first time the young actors saw the dead body. Now okay, it wasn't a real dead body, but was performed by actor Kent W. Luttrell, who was actually 20 at the time of filming, and is still alive and well, as you can see him here hanging out with David Tennant. But the genuine shock and realization in the scene is shown through the boys' performances. In fact, River Phoenix had a tough time during the filming of Stand By Me, as he related a lot to the Chris character, and the part made him confront true emotions that he had within himself and his own issues in life. The emotions and inner struggles Phoenix had in real life show up on the big screen, which in my opinion make the Chris character his standout performance, and an example of how when he sadly passed away in 1993, the world lost a great actor. Not only that, but Jerry O'Connell had his own issues, on the account that he was absolutely terrified of his co-star Kiefer Sutherland, who also apparently bullied the boys behind the scenes to keep in character. And to be honest, I can't really blame O'Connell, as Kiefer Sutherland was pretty damn scary in Stand By Me. I wouldn't mess with him. Number 4. Release. Stand By Me was released on August 8, 1986 and made an impressive $52.3 million on a mere $8 million budget. The movie was a critical hit and nominated for several awards. But what I find strange about the movie's release is the poster, which looks just fine, but features the quote about cherry-flavoured pears that the Vern character says in the campfire scene.
If I can only have one food for the rest of my life, that's easy. Pears. Cherry-flavored pears. No question about it.
I mean, out of all the quotes that could have been put on the poster, why that one was chosen is beyond me. I mean, that's as random as if they put the joke about the Frenchman on the poster, or even Chopper sick balls. But regardless, one person who was a huge fan of the movie was Stephen King himself, whom had a bittersweet relationship to his live-action adaptations thanks to The Shining. However, after watching Stand By Me, King was filled with joy and felt that finally an adaptation based on his work was done right. Number 3, Stand By Me put an old song back in the charts. Stand By Me obviously used the song Stand By Me in the movie, which goes without saying. The song was originally released in 1961 by American soul and R&B singer Ben E. King, and on its initial release entered number 4 in the charts. To be honest, the song is just as moving and full of emotion and soul as the movie is. So much so, when the movie was released, there was suddenly a newfound interest in the song, in which in 1986, 26 years after its original release, the Stand By Me song re-entered the charts. It was even accompanied by a music video which even featured King along with featuring Stand By Me's two main leads, River Phoenix and Will Wheaton. But also, the song Stand By Me had a greater influence on the movie other than just being a song used in the film. Number 2, title change. The Body's movie adaptation became Stand By Me because the studio did not like the name The Body. There are several reasons behind the name change, but my guess would be for marketing reasons. Columbia Pictures were worried that it sounded like either a sex movie or bodybuilding one, or even just another Stephen King horror adaptation. To me, The Body doesn't quite capture the feeling of a story about coming of age and friendship, whereas Stand By Me just works. Several potential titles were put out there, but Rob Reiner chose Stand By Me because that was the song used to play at the end of the movie, and everyone in the production preferred the title Stand By Me to the other potential ones. Also, Michael Jackson was supposedly asked to record a modernized cover of Stand By Me to end the film with, until it was agreed that the original one was perfect and moving enough as it was. So I'm glad they went with the original, because as the old saying goes, why fix what isn't broken? Number 1, the production of Stand By Me was nearly shut down. Stand By Me has become such an important part of pop culture as it's a movie that has now been adored by generations. The idea of its production being cancelled by its studio with no faith in the movie just seems crazy. Well, that very nearly happened, as Embassy Pictures, whom were originally distributing the movie, were bought by Columbia Pictures, whom had just also merged with the Coca-Cola company, and just days before filming was to take place, the movie's production was put to a stop. Embassy Pictures executive Norman Lear forked out over $7 million out of his own pocket to get the movie's production back on track, as he believed in the script and Reiner's directing talents, so filming went ahead. But oh boy, the movie's troubles weren't over yet, as Stand By Me still didn't have a distributor. After filming, the movie was taken to many studios, such as Universal, Warner Brothers and Paramount, all of whom weren't interested. It was just by sheer circumstances that a Columbia Pictures head had a copy of the movie and screened it in his own house on the account that he was feeling ill, to which his daughters actually loved the movie, when finally studio potential in Stand By Me was realised, and thus Columbia Pictures distributed the movie. So had it not been for one of the higher ups at Columbia feeling a bit sick, then Stand By Me may not have been released. Okay guys, give me some skin, as that was my look into Stand By Me. The movie is nothing short of a masterpiece, and is beyond just being an adventure movie for kids, as it taps into many raw emotions and themes, making it a true coming-of-age movie. So to me, the movie is timeless, and is for all ages. Anyway, I'm Minty, and I've never had friends like the ones I've met on YouTube. Jesus, does anyone? See ya!